Hello YouTubers, I'm Vladi99 and today I'm going to show you how you can install Windows subsystem for Linux, install Hyper, ZSH and Oh My Zsh on it, and give it some nice theming and some nice look. This is the final result. When you open Hyper terminal you will see this. We also have enabled some auto-suggestions, some nice coloring, and also we can see here on Git where we are, and also we can create new tabs and access them at any time. So let's get started. First of all, we have to enable Windows Subsystem for Linux. We type in the search bar features and we go to turn Windows features on or off. I'm on Windows 11, but the same is happening also on Windows 10. We will tick the box for Windows Subsystem for Linux and also Virtual Machine Platform. Then hit OK and we wait until the process will finish. After it will finish, we will reboot our PC and you are good to go with the subsystem for Linux. Next, we have to install a distribution, a Linux distribution, and I use for this purpose Debian. I have already installed it. You can also use Ubuntu or Kali or whatever. You just need to type in here Windows Subsystem Linux and you will get all the distributions available, so you will be able to install them, like Ubuntu 18.04, 20.04.4 LTS and so on. Okay, we will open our distribution. It will install on our machine. This should take a few minutes, maybe a few seconds, depending on what machine you have. I will type in a username and also a password. Okay, updated successfully, and now we are on Linux. We will be able to use Linux commands like lsla and so on. First of all, this is used in Windows Terminal. So if we configure ZSH and Oh My Zsh on Windows Terminal, it will get a bit laggy, which is why I recommend using Hyper, and I will teach you how you can install and configure it as in the first part of the video. By now we will close our terminal. We will head over to PowerShell, run it as administrator with Ctrl-Shift-Enter, and here we can see we are on administrator because it's written Windows System 32. We will need to install Chocly. Okay, so after putting in the command I've written in the description, this is the command, we will have Chocolatey installed on our system. If it's configured successfully, we will be able to use Choco command, and we can see here Chocolatey version 0.12.1. Okay, now we will install Hyper using Chocolatey, and we will use the command choco install Hyper. We will wait for this process to finish. We will type A. Now we will just wait a bit. Until the process will finish, we will head over and enable developer mode. We can do this by going into the settings of our PC, going to privacy and security. If you are on Windows 10, most probably this function is available under Windows Update. Then go for developers, and in here we will tick this box. Okay, if I already have set it to on, so it's not necessary for me to set it again. Next, we will open Hyper. We can enter here Hyper if we don't see it under search. This will open us up this application we have installed, and this is the first run of the Hyper terminal. As we can see, it's really small, it's some basic terminal, so nothing special. Now it's running under CMD, so we need to change it to use our Debian distribution. So what do we have to do is to tap to hit the keyboard with Control and comma. This will open us up the settings of the Hyper. Okay, then we need to scroll down until we see shell. Now here under shell we will type C Windows System32 // bash.exe, and under shell arguments we will type only tilde. Okay, now we will save this and we will open Hyper again. To make it easier for us, I will pin it to the taskbar, which I prefer, and put it in the first part of the taskbar. Now, as we can see, we are running under Linux in Hyper. Okay, so far so good. The problem is when we type in some specific functions, we can get an error like bash /r, and it isn't that good. So we need to solve this. To do so, we need to change directory to /etc. Wait a second, I will make the font bigger again. I type in Control and comma and type in font size 14, which will make the font bigger so you can see better. I will change directory to /etc, and in here I will type in sudo nano wsl.conf. This will open up. I will type in the sudo password, and this will open up the file wsl.conf. In here we will type in interop and append Windows path equals false. Control O will save the file. We will let the file name as it is. We hit enter and then Control X, which will get us out. You can also use, for example, another editor like code and type in the file name, and it should open up the Visual Studio Code. But as the terminal is newly installed, we won't have code installed, so nano is what I recommend. Next, we will close Hyper, and now we need to install some plugins for it. We can leave a Hyper configuration open, and we will go back to Windows PowerShell. Now we will type in hyper-i or hyper install, it's up to you. Hyper-i, hyperBorder. Okay, now we wait for it to finish. We should see hyperBorder installed successfully. Hyper-i, hyperTabs enhanced. again we should see installed successfully hyper font ligatures. We should see again installed successfully hyper pane, installed successfully hyper activeTab, again installed successfully, and hyper term cobalt2 theme. Okay, and we can see installed successfully. We can check this by going back to Visual Studio Code, and we should see here the plugins have got installed. Now when we run Hyper, the interface will be a bit changed. Okay, we comment out hyperpane, we don't need it, so we have hyperBorder right now. We can see this colorful border and a nice theme, and also it looks much better than before. Now next we have to type some new configuration in here under preserve cwd. This should be under config. We have to type in hyperTabs. These are JSON elements. Border, we set it to true. tabIconsColored, set it to true, and also activityColor, set it to salmon color. Okay, so where activityColor means when we have some new activity going on in a new tab, the tab will be salmon color, so we know that something new is happening and we should go there. Next we type in hyperBorder. We type the border width of 8 pixels. You can either set animate to true, which will lead to this animation of the border, so it will go, the color will go from the right to the left, or you can comment it out and set animate duration 2000, which will make the colors go faster. Default is 18,000. Okay, we also need to set webGLRenderer to false. webGLRenderer false. This is needed, I will comment it out here. This is needed for enabling font ligatures we have installed previously. Okay, and also you can configure an emoji for activeTab, like a rocket or a smiley face or something. It's up to you. For example, I have used rocket, but this is not really necessary. We hit always Ctrl S, so we make sure that the configuration will be saved, and we will relaunch Hyper. Now after relaunching it, we should see our configuration has been made. We can see by the yellow or the pink color that it's going faster from the right to the left. Okay, so far so good. Now we have to install ZSH. First of all, installing ZSH can be done using our terminal, so it's not needed for you to open up your browser. We do this by typing sudo apt update first to make sure our repos are updated. Okay, Then sudo apt upgrade. We can see here some new upgrades. Okay. This has been done, and now we can type in sudo apt install, and we type in first wget. We install wget, then sudo apt install curl, yes, then sudo apt install git for GitHub, then we type in sudo apt install screenfetch. This will get us the information about our PC when we open up the terminal, which I like the most. And next we type in sudo apt install zsh. Okay. They have all got installed. Now we have to open ZSH. We type in ZSH, hit enter, and in here we can see the settings. Type 2, so hit 2 on your keyboard, and this will create some new parameters. Next we have to edit our bash rc file. You can see the bash rc in here, it's bash rc. We open it up with nano.bash rc, and we scroll down all the way. In nano we just use arrow keys. Now we type in here bash -c zsh. This will make launch ZSH by default when opening Hyper, and also screenfetch, which will give us directly the information regarding our PC, so it's not needed to type screenfetch and then see it. It will open up by default with the bash. Now hit Ctrl O, again enter, Ctrl X, and now we can close our terminal and open it up again. We should see this time that screenfetch is running. Okay. We can't see it because of some fonts right now. We have to go next to install also Oh My Zsh. Now, using the command in the description, sh-seeker cloning Oh My ZSH. When prompted, we type in yes, enter. We enter our sudo password, and we can see now Oh My ZSH is now installed. We can see this arrow, so it's fine, it got installed. Then we can close Hyper, and when we relaunch it, we can see that it will launch directly with Oh My ZSH. Okay. Now we need to install some plugins for ZSH, like syntax-highlighting, zsh-aliases-exa, which is for coloring, and auto-suggestions, and so on. But first, we need to open up again bash rc file, yeah, nano.bash rc, and see why screenfetch is not opening. Maybe I've mistaken some screenfetch. No, it should run. It should run. If it will not run, we can type in WSL --shutdown under PowerShell. This will force Windows subsystem close, and then we will open it up again. and we should be able to see screenfetch. Something is wrong here, but we will see later. By now we will install some custom plugins. So first of all, we need to clone a repo. You can either paste it using paste or just tap Ctrl Shift and V, which will paste the text. Okay, it got cloned. Now we need to ls-la. We can see here we have a folder Oh My Zsh. We change directory to that folder using change directory .o, because that is the name of the folder, my zsh. Okay, as we can see, git master. Now we type in again ls-la. We see here all the folders and files. We change directory to custom, and we can see here we have plugins and themes. Now we go to plugins, change directory again to plugins. We can see here we have only a zsh-syntax-highlighting installed, so we can go back. We change directory space ... and now we clone the repo of zsh-aliases-exa. This will create a folder zsh-aliases-exa, which should have been made under plugins. Sorry, it's my fault. We remove this directory using rmrf zsh star. Okay, now we change the directory back to plugins, use the up arrow key, press it 4 times and clone this repo again, instead just using paste again. Okay, now we have zsh-aliases-exa installed. We can also install auto-suggestions. Again, we just paste the command and we have them installed. Now the next step is to enable these plugins. So first of all, we need to get back home, like change directory tilde. This will get us home, and as we can see using ls-la, we have here bash rc and zsh-rc. Now we need to edit this file zsh-rc. We hit nano.zsh-rc and we need to scroll down until we will see plugins. Now in here we need to type in brew, colorize, leave git as it is, zsh-autosuggestions, zsh-aliases-exa, zsh-syntax-highlighting. Okay, now we hit Ctrl O, we save the file, again Ctrl X, we close our terminal, open it up again, and we should be able to see our plugins installed. Command not found exa. Okay, it's something wrong in the configuration. Let me see what is wrong. zsh-aliases-exa. Okay, we should install sudo apt install exa and we should be good to go now. Yep, and we have also the colors in here. So if you get this error, you just need to sudo apt install exa and you have the nice coloring and all the plugins enabled from before. The next step is to install Spaceship, which is a custom theme for Oh My Zsh. We need first to clone this repo, so we paste in the command git clone. It will clone this theme to custom themes, and next we also have to paste in the other command with ln, enter, and we are good to go. Now we have to open up again the zsh-rc file using nano.zsh-rc, and in here by zsh-theme we type in spaceship. Now Ctrl O, enter, Ctrl X. We can exit Hyper right now, and when we open it again we should see that it has got installed. We need to change directory to Oh My Zsh because this is a git directory, and we can see here that it has got installed. So what we have to do now is to install custom fonts. I recommend using Fira code font. You can download it from Google Fonts. Download family, open it up, and in the static we have to go through all of this, like double click it and tap on install. This will install it on our machine. I have already installed, so it's not needed for me to install it again. Okay, and also operator mono code font, sorry. This should be installed by default on your machine. It's a font I like, and we need to change our configuration right now. So again, change directory to tilde to make sure we are home, and nano zsh rc, hit Ctrl comma. This will launch the Hyper configuration, and in here we will type in operator mono. Okay, make sure it's after this character, and you type it in like here, and you can also enable Fira code after it. Now hit Ctrl S. We will see here configuration updated. Now we can see here that this character is showing up as it should, so we should be good to go. But first of all, let's see why screenfetch isn't working for us right now. So after installing it, we should be able to see it running, which is not happening in our case. So we make sure again sudo apt install screenfetch. We make sure again that it is installed correctly, so 0 upgraded, and then go back home again, list our files, and nano.bash.rc again, scroll all the way down, and try to type it in before ZSH, maybe it has something to do with this. Okay, now hit Ctrl O, Ctrl X. Now we can close Hyper, we open it up again, and here we are. We can see that the screenfetch is working right now correctly. We will be able to resize our terminal and do some nice stuff on it. We can also create a new tab, close this. Also, instead of using Control comma, you can go to edit preferences and you can edit here the file up to your choice. I changed the font and this is the configuration which I have made. It's good to see that we have here webGLRenderer set to true, so we will comment it out, so we make sure that it is set here to false. Now we can close our Hyper terminal, open it up again, and we should be able to go. If something isn't working, let me know in the comments below and I will try to respond you as soon as possible and help you out with your problem. If you do like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will upload more videos with Windows configuration in the future. Also create some nice reviews about Huawei products if you are a Huawei fan, and upload some footage from my DJI Mini 2 drone. Until then, I will wish you good luck and have a nice day. Cheers!